Hey, where's my favorite song? I have a new favorite song, guys. Let's play it before I start the video. I done seen you before. I done seen you before.
You ever felt like everywhere you go, you see this same face? Shit, even in the sandbox, I seen this face. Transformers. I done seen you before. Don't know where I seen you before, but I know that I seen you before. I've seen you somewhere before. I done seen you before. Don't know where I seen you before, but I know that I seen you before. I've seen you somewhere before. Hold up, pause, freeze, take a look around. Tell me, who do you see? Familiar faces, but you don't know who it is. You try to think about it, still don't know who it is. My eyes don't deceive me, I know I'm not blind. I think about the past, I think about the time. I look at the present.
You know what, Freddie? I've been doing research on the redhead giants. And can I tell you, it is validated. Now, all of them didn't have red hair. Not all of them have red hair, but I've really been doing research on the Giants. And at first, I wasn't buying it because they always want to attribute it to a certain stock. And you know what I mean? It's always basically, we have to think of the Vikings as European. But guess what? A lot of that giant DNA is obtained by Europeans. So we gonna have to stop looking at this stuff racially. Who is, as far as skin color, we gonna have to get off the skin color when it comes to the Giants and when it comes to the old world, because they didn't really do skin color like that. And when you're gonna say somebody was 2,000-3,000 years ago, that's a long time ago to be determining who was first. But they all was around. And I mean like 20-something different distinct phenotypes, different skin colors. I'm telling y'all, I've done the research. We're going to have to get off the skin color thing. I'm telling you. Yeah, red hair comes in all humans. I've seen some brown people with red hair and freckles. I'm serious. I've seen some brown people with blonde hair. I'm telling you what I know. Some straight blonde hair. I've seen it. I've seen exactly Asians with red hair. I'm telling you, we have been trapped into this thinking of this skin color, identity politics. And it keeps us from really going back in the past to determining how of a variety of ethnotypes we experience, especially in what we call Atlantis and Mu. They were really big on these variables. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't really put a finger on the exact scientist, but I read his book and it was very interesting. And it talked about this guy who was a sort of a madman about making these mixtures. He was hell bent on creating as many combination variables as possible. And I also read in that same book that this scientific explorator was behind what we consider, what we call Polynesians. And what he would do was take these groups to combine them to avoid inbreeding. So this is why he came up with the concept of, someone with blue eyes, marrying somebody with brown, someone with pale getting with someone dark, someone with reddish hue getting I'm talking about so many varieties that he practiced to come up with his quote unquote, perfect race. So I cannot think of the book. I know it is in my library, and I have a large library, but I can go and get this book, and it is a great book. It actually focused, it was called The Priory of Sion, and it focused on how they were trying to take over, and they had ran into some great queen who met them in the place we call Africa, and she met them with, it was a three-tier front that they were about to try to dominate the planet, and this guy named Genghis Khan, the Scion, and this queen who was ruling over the Sudan at the time. And they all bumped heads at the same time, and it was about to go down. When they seen this woman's, you know, army or whatever who were behind her, they decided not to, conquer Africa, and they turned around. And this is where we get, modern day history after that. But anyway, I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the language used as to determine the colonization of the Americas. Because, first of all, we have a lot of claims in the America on who's first, who did what, and who's owed what, and bragging rights on who are the Americans. If we pay close attention to the language, we will see. Yes, so SOS, I really need to read up, but I'm probably about 1,000 books in my lifetime. I'm probably over 1,000 books already. And it's not easy to read and comprehend 1,000 books, memory wise. But I've done some reading, and I've done some referencing with different languages. I'm pretty much a genius at it. But let's focus on the colonization of America. This is what they determine. They don't say the colonization of Nativia, the colonization of India. They focus on the word America. And when we come to find out, America is an actually distinct group of people on this continent. It's just not Amerigo Vespucci, because his name is actually Alberico Vespucci. Alberico Vespucci was his birth name, and he graduated to this name at Amerigo Vespucci once he enjoyed the lands over here that we all consider to be the motherland. It's called the Great Mother. It was never called Turtle Island. America has never been Turtle Island, people. Never. It has never been Turtle Island, y'all. Mm. Mm. I'm trying to get a certain guy up here. I can't find him. He was trying to get up here earlier. But yeah, I want to cover this topic as well. We were just talking about the sub-Saharans and the Bantu cultures. We just went over that topic about an hour ago, and I know it's Eastern time is 5 a.m. Central, it's 4 a.m. I know it's pretty early for some, but when you get up in your 40s and 50s, you love getting up early. It's the best part of life. When you're young and youthful, you just sleep forever. But now I'm, very keen on waking up early. So let me show you guys something else. So here's another one right here. As we can see, Top de Marocain. or Maroccaine. Maroccaine right here, as we can see, Type de Maroccain or Maroccaine. Maroccaine is actually distinctive historical people, right? This is a distinctive people, Maroccain. So this is a marriage of a people they don't want to talk about. And to us, they are called Berbers or Bebaroi, or Babaroi, Babare, Babare, Babaroi, right? Right? So we don't really comprehend this because it has biblical. One second. Someone's giving me a message. It has biblical implications because when we look at the Confederation of D in Psalm 83, it mentions certain nations. And I believe it's um the it is the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Moabites, the Amorites, the Hittites, and it's another one when we go back into the Psalm 83. So the people of Psalm 83 are the confederation against thee. Those people, their history around the world is pivotal to tracing ancestry of the great Ibero-Maurusians, the Kemetic Egyptian or the Mizraim people, and what we call the Moors. Now, this word America is very, very critical, and I'm dealing with the colonization of America, and I want to make this clear. The people of India or Nativia, they were not colonized. The people that were colonized were the Americans. It is literally called the colonization of the Americas. It is not called the colonization of India. Like that one woman, I would love to get her on the panel, but sometimes it's worthless going back and forth with people who's hell bent on emotions. I think her name is Alan B. Kenny, and we know her as Kenya in the community, and she's pushing this. I'm Indio, not more, and that's great. That's great, because one thing, the greatness about this community of information sharing, you can be what you want to be. We don't want to tell anybody who they are. That's not what we're doing. Y'all make sure that y'all hit that screen, tap that screen, because these are valuable lessons you're going to be getting from some of the best in the business. So, Maroccain are a distinct confederation of people, like I just named in Psalm 83. And Maroccain are Moabites and Canaanites. It is the holy matrimony of Moabites and Canaanites. So when you go into the old world structures of America built by these people, you know something is mausoleum and mesquite and mosque. The technology that they use based off their culture of praising and revealing to the so-called God of the light. So that is these people, the Moroccans, and this is the Creole spelling of the word American, and the older version of Tismarekuch or Marrakech or Marrakesh. And these words mean the land of God or land of Allah, which is the Aramaic pronunciation of God. So, like I say, it's the oldest country in the world is Egypt, aka Mizraim. And Mizraim is the two lands of Messir, and this is where Moab, the king of Moab, ruled. The king of Moab ruled in Egypt, right? And we understand that these are boundary lands or borderlands of the Moors. And I have so much research, and you can never research this information in one snap of a finger. But when we go into the dynasties and we go into the leadership of, I want to say after Akhenaten, These people have specific names, and almost all of them begin with Mary or Morai. Do you understand what I'm saying? None of these people named are Indio, Indus, Indalaya, Indamaruko. It's nothing Indo, nothing in their names. Nothing. You're never going to see this Latin word that comes up a little bit later. But we understand that they are the gods. We've always put them synonymous with the word gods, even though we know that's not what they say. They would say something like Ilah, Elohim, El, and Moriah, right? And some people even say Yah and um what is another word? La. It's so many variables, but we know for a fact that Elah is the Aramaic word for the creator, right? That's so we just say God for short because a lot of people, we're so accustomed to using the word God, so we're gonna use that. But to make this short and brief, it's called the land of God. This is how they describe who they are descendants of and what their land is. It's the land of God. And the people who developed this civilization or this concept were called the Moabites and the Canaanites, and they are the predecessors. They are the prerequisite of what we call Israel, who is the royal people who inherited the land and culture of the Canaanites. So if we look at this word of this woman right here, who is considered a Beribra or a Babaroy, she is Moroccan, right? So let's go back. Right? So let's go back. So this is the purpose of this video, to specify through linguistics and culture and obviously anthropology that has been documented and the testimony of countless masters, PhDs in the field of archaeology and anthropology. So America was colonized. We have these people that are separate nations. They live on reservations and they have a distinct culture about themselves. And a vast majority of these people, they say they are not mound builders, which was a specific culture. So they are not mound builders and they are not Americans. They are separate from America. Pay attention. The colonization was the colonization of America or Maryland, which is Mary Titan, who is the mother of, is the wife of, let's go and look it up. So Mary Mac, Santa Maria, Santa Maria, this is who they're looking for, the bloodline of Mary. Because we know Queen Mary was what? She was also known as the Queen of the Desert, which is very, very important because we know the eye of, oh my, I forgot the land mass, but it's so called by India, and it's a very large land, similar to Baker's Ferry and similar to Tenochtitlan. I have to get my stuff together. Okay, but let me get the consort mother's name, and it is Akhenaton wife. Okay. Meketaten. Okay, the queen. Nefertari, the great royal wife. Okay, let's get this name. Mary Titan. Meritites. Okay, Meritites was a member of the fourth dynasty of Egypt. Spouse Khufu, children Merisonk, Meritite, Hetepheres, Kawab, and Jedefor. Jedefor. So Merititis, ancient Egyptian queen of the Merites. So like I say, this name is used predominantly throughout these dynasties, and we know the dynastic period is the motherhood ruling of the Aboriginal mother. So I want you to understand that Mary is used a lot when it's describing the motherhood and the feminine presence. Let's go back. So these are the best debates of 2025. Indies or Indiones are separate nations. They are not Americans. So this is the final frontier of information going back and forth. This is it. And we're all going to be happily ever after. We're not going to have these debates anymore because it is simple, straight to the point research, comprehensive learning, right in your face, smack dab. So the colonization specifically happened to the Americans because we understand the Moroccan, the patriarch people, the protectors of the borders of mother. We understand the civilization of Egypt is actually called Mauritania. It's actually named after the queen mothers. The mummies is named after them. So this is why they are colonizing Mizraim and Moab and Canaan, because these are the Phoenicians. If anybody know about the origin of Morocco, you will know that the Phoenicians are actually the predecessors. They are the developers of Morocco. Before it was named Morocco, the Phoenicians are the people who are called the Mahurin. The Mahurin are the original people of the Phoenicia people, and they too are Moors. And they gave their land, the name Tamari and Tanejer, right? And this is where we get the word Nigeria right now today. This is where we get the word Maryland right now today. This is where we get the word Tangiers right now today. Right? Tangiers come from the word Tanejer, which means the land of God. Right? So these are the best debate because this is it. It's nothing else to debate. After this, when we establish who were actually colonized, anybody in the French, Spanish, Latin, Hispano, Berber, Meccan, we will break this down on who actually got colonized. It was not the Indio people. First of all, they didn't even have a culture worth colonizing because they don't have a writing script. They are not the mound builders, and they are not the holders of the deeds to the land. It was the Aboriginal mothers. And another word for mother is Mari. This is why we have Marikain or Morokain, because these are the land of the ancient mothers. And these are the people that are being colonized by this patriotic effort to rewrite history. Do you understand me? So if the Indio people are separate nations and they fight every day to be recognized as separate nations with separate flags on reservation status, clearly they are not even American. So we're up here arguing with people who fight every day to not be American, to get from up under the banner of the American flag. They argue with you that they are known as so many things, and the list is so long, y'all. Over hundreds and hundreds of different tribes of people that argue that they are separate from America. So if they have their own separate status, their own separate flag, their own separate bylaws, how are they Americans? We are arguing for nothing, and that's why I've come to the conclusion that I'm not going to argue with them. We're going to let the information speak for itself. Once again, thank y'all so much for tapping the screen. We already got 1,000 likes. We already know the more you tap the screen, the more you share the content, the quicker we can get this out the spread, and we can have an M.C.I conversation about this, because more is better. The more we bring in people from across the planet, across the country, intercontinental, and internationally, we'll get to the nitty gritty, because a lot of these people have information pertaining to this topic, and we need to get this out the way for the sake of freeing the people who have been colonized. And that is exactly why I do these videos. It is absolutely pertinent that we come to the rescue of these people who has been denationalized, colored out of human history, and merely given a name, a black, a color, a afro. That is unacceptable, and we owe it to these very creative people to help them attach themselves back to the nations of men and women. So once again, this is the best debate of the rest of this whole movement of research, because we want to know who are the first Americans. That is one good debate. We want to know who were actually being colonized. So the debate technically has already been won, because we know Americans are distinct, especially when we use the 1828 Webster's Dictionary on who the various copper-colored people found in the Americans, various Aboriginal people or races now apply to the Europeans. That is exactly what the definition says, my people. That is exactly what the definition says, my people. It's the various Aboriginal races of the copper-colored Aboriginals now applied to the European. So, with that being said, America is a specific people. It's specific culture that is sought after back then and right now today. People still are going, through difficulties trying to get to America. They'll do anything to get over here. So the point that I'm making is, yes, there are other tribes in America. Yes, there were other nations in the Americas living just like today. But the Americans back then were specific. They're specific, special. So specific and special is almost synonymous. They are an special type of people that can be distinguished. They are different than the so-called tribal people. Do you understand me? They are different from the Russian tribal people. They are different from the Mestizo people, right? They are different from the Mulattoes people, from the subgroup people of the India, the subcontinent of India. They are different in every way. So this is why we understand the knowledge of who were actually colonized, who were getting civilized, and who were being colonized. So people were civilized, and they were, forced English so they can learn the English way, so they can work them jobs. Because that's the only reason they were teaching them English, so they can get accustomed to working for foreigners and settlers, right? But you had a certain group of people that were being colonized. That means they were already situated. They were already formatted. They have already blueprinted their own society full of masonry, rock cutting, mound building, river. What is the word I'm looking for? It's kind of late. What is it called when you dredging rivers? People that dredge rivers. This technology was already here, right? Building on the land, agriculture. Some of the best agriculturalists throughout man and mankind history and heritage are Americas. That is true. We can go back to the Turks. And what are these people called in America? The Peruvians, the Bolivians, the Amazonians. These people are historically known to be some of the best agriculturalists in the world, especially the Amazonians. Someone had a question, and it says, If separate, then you are responsible for your own economy, which includes paying for all expensive paying. I don't really understand your comment. I hope you're not in here with that type of energy, because you don't want to go there. You don't really want to go there, but yeah. Separate nations, when dealing with this topic in particular, we're talking about tribal people that are claiming to be, I believe ethnically, because I don't think Indian is a race. I say that because if you look over there in India, right, it's called India. Then you have Indonesia. Then you have Indo-European. Then you have Indian. So this is like five groups of people calling themselves Indio, which we believe it comes from Los Nino Indio, another word for the children of no God, or some say the children in God. So we have to get a solid rock definition of the word Indio going forward, because we want to get to the nitty gritty of who these people are. We have to figure it out. And I'm not talking about the Siberians. The Siberian people, the Mongola, and it's another one. It's Eurasia. Eurasia, Sami people, Findians, Finnian people who brag a relationship with the Finnish. And there's nothing wrong with that, because people can mix and marry with whoever they want to. Right? That's not what I'm doing here. People can mix and marry into Europe, what we call Africa, Arabia. People have done it. Turks, right? People have mixed and married all throughout the ages. So there's no prejudice when it comes to these decisions made by our ancestors. But we're focusing on the particular timeline of 1552. We're focusing on who were actually colonized. How many minutes we have left? Well, we have about 10 minutes left, and we're already at 2,000 viewers. Thank you guys so much. The last few videos on these topics have been outstanding. So I'm loving the crowd participation. It appears that you guys are really loving to learn. And TikTok is severely limited because you can only show some images. You can't really go and source up like you can on YouTube. But I still like TikTok better than YouTube. Obviously, because the crowd participation, the energy, and people on TikTok in general are bringing the research. So anyway, you guys, this is going to be the best debate of who are actually the Americans, and we're going to need some of the best to step up to represent this information. So we have so many different people in America. The great thing about it is, unlike Africa, Africa has 3,100 ethnic groups, and they have over 2,000 languages. That's how diverse Africa is. America, on the second hand, we only have 34 countries, and we only have like 5 ethnic groups, y'all. So in Africa, they have over 2,000 ethnicities. That is a lot. So over here, we don't have to go far to get to the nitty gritty, even though there were some people that were snuffed out because of ethnocide and deicide, coming over here, knocking out their leaders and power grid. So there's a lot of people missing from the historical timeline. But we only have about 5 or 6 ethnicities over here. Some whatever groups are now extended and revive. Some groups revive, like I know some of y'all haven't heard of the Barbacoan. And most of them were, let me read that. were brought there in l'Afrique by the Berbers. Exactly who were, let me read that. Were brought there in l'Afrique by the Berbers. Exactly. Whoever the chiefess is, she's intelligent because you respect the prowess and the navigability of the Berbers. They were mighty. No matter how they you respect the prowess and the navigability of the Berbers. They were mighty. No matter how they try to downplay their presence by the Romans and the Arabs, the Berbers were very great. They were great. They were greater than what they're telling us. Let's get some imagery on the Berbers right quick. So the Berber. Oh wow, what's going on? Please stop. Oh wow, it's moving too slow. Okay, there it is. So the Berber, as we can see right here, type de Marocain, they come in various browns and various hairs. I wish I can show because not all of them have woolly hair. The Berbers. Not all of them got woolly hair, but here's another one, type de Marocain, which is a specific people. And they, Berbers, Les Berbers, in the Beaver Wars, go and look up the Beaver Wars. The Beaver Wars were about these people because they were an estuary and creek-like people and maroon-like people where they built up aquatic farming. They were masters of aquatic farming, and they used the beaver. They depended on the beaver to build their estuaries and their marshy areas where they can grow their food and they can, they can protect their agriculture with this developed system of, creeks, just creeks everywhere. And we find it in America. They have something called Chattahoochee Valley in America. And this river systems, it stems all the way up from a place called Black Warrior River, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, all the way down through Florida. It's one of the largest creek systems. And I'm not even talking about no river like how we have large river systems. I'm talking about creeks that were, man, the way it was developed, and they have some of the, most unique wildlife and, river life, ancient stuff going on here, man. I'm talking about thousands of miles of creek networks, and they went down in history as actually known as the Creek people, which is an anglicized word, but they were known as the Creek people, and they developed this massive civilization of people that was almost impenetrable and protected by mountain ranges throughout the Americas. And this is why a lot of them survived, because it took a whole lot of money and resources to get to these people. And they were so exhausted on, going out with their plan to ethnocide and deicide them and genocide them. They were so exhausted that they had to really relegate to just writing them out of history with language. Pretty much they got to the point where, hey, we can't beat them physically. We got to we got to change their history and the perception of these people. And, they just started renaming them, giving them color codes and, this new religion or whatever. And now they're just pretty much telling their children anything. And that's one way that they kind of want to battle it to. But these people that are called the children of God or whatever, or the children of the Creator, they still have the favor and grace of their Creator because they are making the comeback. And the information cannot be fully eradicated, and people's hall of memories, and countries like Russia and Iran and Iraq, and these countries still have their records of how they dealt with the Moroccan people. And they call it the curse of Cain in the Bible, the curse of Moab. They give you all of this back and forth and, confusion. But it was an empire. And New Age researchers, they'll just write it off as the Morocco Empire. But it was not the Morocco Empire, because Morocco was a state developed by a man named Idris, who escaped persecution in Arabia. So it was never Morocco. Morocco came later, right? And I'm not dissing the Morocco, because I understand we are related to them, but they are a patriotic group. They are a patriotic kingdom that became really, really powerful protectors of the old Canaanite tradition, which is that of the Hittites, which is that of the Egyptians, which is that of the Asiatic Turks, right? So I'm really going in on information a lot of people are not privy to, but it's my job to share it with you and make things easily accessible, and being able to interpret this information simple is, what I do. I do this for y'all. I don't draw off skin color. I don't draw off religion. I draw off the fact that love is the ultimate experience, and it is what is going to ultimately bring us together, right? Love instead of hate, man. That's the only way we're going to excel, man, and learn. You know what I'm saying? Stunting, using the H word, I don't like to even say it. The H word will stunt our progress, and we need to get away from it in 2025 Gregorian calendar. I'm telling y'all, the more we show love, the more and more the universe is going to reveal itself to us, and we'll get ourselves out of this jam from the evil one who want to infest us with poison and with other means that will stunt us and keep us out here looking bad. They've already showed their hand on how they really feel about us and what they want to do with us. And when they got here, they had plans on, beating our people down and putting them in terrible situations. When the way this earth was set up and the way the civilization of the so-called Atlanteans was set up, nobody wanted for nothing. Nobody wanted for nothing. But guess what, guys? The only people that were sort of treated wrong were the people that were criminals who had plans on harming the woman. They wanted the woman all for themselves for various reasons. We already know why. So they were criminals, and they were imprisoned, and they were put in some of these fort-like castles, gated communities. And yeah, those people, they broke out. They broke out, and they started to bring, suffering to this earth. And that is the honest truth. Our people were never, ever put in a situation where we had to work and struggle to make ends meet. The concept of kingdom on earth is what our people perfected. What our peoples perfected. And they call it Jerusalem. They call this concept Jerusalem, or the asylum of the Most High. It is the asylum of where we sought refuge and peace. Right? Where we sought refuge and peace. This is the story given to us. And it is very possible for us to achieve this sort of bliss and connection with the creative spirit. Yeah, I've read that too, Chuck. And I'm not talking about something recently, and I ain't talking about mainstream media, but there's some information about our culture. And when I mean that, I mean the Moorish and what we call Judea. This same sort of similar Abrahamic faith is recorded on Mars, of praying and revealing of the nature. You know what I mean? The same similar of what the Egyptians do. They found, and that's not what this video is about, and I don't even want to go that way. But what I'm saying is they're similar to us. They're similar to us, and they call it sun worshiping, or the astrology or cosmogony, and that is very much prominent in the Egyptian culture, right? That's why, if y'all remember that movie, the Stargate movie, I think that's what it's called, Stargate. Whenever they went through the Stargate, in any Stargate, besides a few beasts here and there, they always were on the heels of the Egyptians and this god Ra. Remember? They're always on the trail of the Ra people, which is the sun people. So the Stargate is showing you, no matter how far you travel, no matter what world you go to, we're still dealing with this guy Ra. Or whatever Ra is. We don't know. Because we've never met him personally. And I'm talking about Amun Ra. I'm not talking about the deity and the spirit. I'm talking about the actual guy that they so-called worship as the physical embodiment of God. Amen Ra. Right? So when we look at Stargate and going to Mars and all these different, the same people that help master the earth land, they are the ones traveling, leaving these colonies, leaving these civilizations, all over our accessible galaxy. Our blood is of gold. I support all that, Chuck. I really do. I believe that. But the thing is, it started to become tainted intentionally. And I do want to show you something, Chuck, before we get out of here, to verify what you're talking about. Let me see if I can find it right quick, Chuck. Find it right quick, Chuck. All right, I'm gonna stop right here for right now, but I'm gonna come back. So what I want to show you, Chuck, is actually a gray. Is All right, I'm gonna stop right here for right now, but I'm gonna come back. So what I want to show you, Chuck, is actually a gray. Is actually a gray alien inside the pyramids. I just pulled this up right here to show the image of the people that are called Shaki Amun, Shaki Ammonites. So the Ammonites are these Buddha-like enlightened people, and these are the people that they are colonizing, and they call them the snakes or the Nagas or the Nagus. And the Ezegwari of the king of Abyssinia, also known as the Moors. So this is why the Moors or the Moroccanites and the Moabites are emphasized, because they are a people that protect. They are guardians of the ancestral knowledge of what we enjoy right now today, as far as, looking at microscope DNA altering the course of humanity through engineering and certain means of, scientific exploration. But this is what they're after, these people right here. Let's not get it twisted. And we can put two and two together with the Olmec, the Mayan and all of that. We can put two and two together on the same similarities, but ultimately, these are the people they're looking for. Now, I don't want to call them gods because they're physical, but in the way God does mean ruler of the land. But these giant Asiatic Buddha dudes, when somebody brought up giants, oh yeah, this is what's going on. And they left those megalithic developments, and as well as these statues everywhere, and they are looking for megalithic developments, and as well as these statues everywhere, and they are looking for them. They're looking to break them down and get rid of them so they can, be the new authors of civilization. Because we got to understand them, so they can, be the new authors of civilization. Because we got to understand, colonists are not inventive. They are not creative. What they do is pretty much take what you've already inventive. They are not creative. What they do is pretty much take what you've already developed and slap their name on it, which is a sign of laziness. That's all it is laziness. They didn't do nothing but colonize, and I just invited somebody by accident. I did not mean to do that. You don't have to come up here. It was a total accident. But colonization is not brag worthy. It's nothing but karma that's going to come from it. And it's okay. And I know a lot of us going to go through pain and suffering, as victims of colonization and reconstruction of history. I know it hurts, to see a lot of the native Aborigine people going through what they go through. But whenever there is a new era, and there is birth of a new one. Just look at the metaphor of no pain, no gain. Just, when you pass away, there's pain. And when the woman gives birth, there's pain. So it's never going to be a clean, just smooth operation. But there are, instances where we can enjoy this heaven-like blissful experience. Right? So just look at it from a 3 dimension. There's the birth part. When mother is incubating and giving birth, and she's holding the baby in the womb and going through her pains, and then she actually gives birth to the baby. We already know that's pain for both of them. Right? So life and death can be painful, but the golden age is when we master all of the sciences and we come up with medicines and herbs and, rubbing lotions or whatever, and our technology pretty much catches up with our primitive nature of procreating, and we make life easy. So there's 3 dimensions of this earth, right? So there's nothing ever's going to be easy. That's how I want y'all to look at it when we go through this sort of colonization, and these people rewrite history and they make it rough for all of us. And we use the knowledge from our mistakes and our past to make life easier for everybody. And I just want y'all to know who we descend from, people. No matter if you're, brown, dark, or albino, or whatever color, we all are together, and that's how we got to look at it. We've always been together. And we got to stop hating, no matter what, the evil one done. And I really want to show this one image before I end the video. Somebody mentioned something about the firmament. I didn't even see that. Okay, Chuck. Chuck is going in. Thank you, Chuck, for everything you've done in this live today. Thank you, everybody. But I really wanted to show y'all this alien. Thank you, everybody. But I really wanted to show y'all this alien. Hold on. Let me get out of here. Something's going on. Let me switch it up. Hold on. Hold on. Let me switch it up. Hold on. Okay, I don't know what's going on, so I'm gonna go on and end the video. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties. I did want to show Chuck something before I got up out of here. I'm going to try to show him one more time. Give me 1 sec. Before I got up out of here, I'm going to try to show him one more time. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. Give me 1 sec. All right, there it is right there. I actually have a better